I took my assignment to be to talk about the goals for humanities education in high poverty, high minority public schools. And my answer stems from a premise, and the premise is that it is in our national interest to have more people go to college, particularly people who come from these high poverty, otherwise underrepresented aspects of our population, and that the study of the humanities does indeed contribute to the goals of these individuals and to us as a country. So what I want to do is make a few observations about the goals for humanities education for individual students, and then the goals for humanities education for institutions. For individuals, it works. That is, when students study the humanities, they do in fact gain the kinds of skills and perspectives that have just been talked about, and that those skills enable them to do better in school and prepares them for college better. This has been well documented through lots of studies. Second, these higher order cognitive skills and other perspectives also prepare people to do well once they're in college. And the correlation that has been done even by such muckrakers as Richard Arum in trying to describe the failings of American education distinguish between those students who have studied the humanities and other students in their performance and success during college. Am I up to third now or fourth? Third. This is not news. This has always been true. About 30 years ago, there was the big fuss in the DC public schools when someone discovered that if you taught fourth graders Latin, their English language reading and writing skills would improve. We've known that. We've known a lot of things, and yet in American education, we have to reinvent things as part of the latest trend. There are a lot of myths about what make the humanities compelling for students at the K-12 level and again at the college level. How many of you have seen the play Hamilton? Do you know about the play Hamilton? This is a hip-hop opera based on the life of Alexander Hamilton, now playing on Broadway, and it is very faithfully drawn from Ron Chernow's 800-page scholarly tome about Hamilton that appeared a few years ago. The Rockefeller Foundation recently gave over $1 million to fund 20,000 tickets for New York City school kids to see Hamilton. These are low-income inner-city kids from high-poverty schools. And if this works the way everyone thinks it will, the exposure to this dimension of American history through the language of hip-hop opera will do a lot to increase interest in American history and one hopes the rest of the humanities. You should see the play, it's great, just great. We know then, shifting to why it's in the interest of institutions to promote the humanities and cooperation at this level, is that there is a falling off of interest in the humanities. We've seen it in colleges and universities everywhere, even the most highly selective institutions, as well as those that are more market sensitive. To attract more students to the humanities, it requires seamless work between what goes on in the K-12 schools and what goes on during college. And these subjects are not thought of as sequential and cumulative as the sciences are, but they are. If you're a professor of French at Stanford University and you've seen enrollments in your French classes go down, you clearly have an interest in having French 101 taught well either to freshmen or to high school kids or to junior high school kids. And the same is true for every subject that would lend itself to a beginning, a middle, and an end, or a elementary and intermediate and advanced. And we need to encourage the kind of cooperation that will build that support. There are a lot of myths about the humanities, and one of them is that if you major in the humanities, you won't get a job after college. It turns out this is false. Anthony Carnevale at Georgetown University has studied tens of thousands of college graduates, and it is now absolutely the case that people who major in the humanities do just as well as people who major in other fields, if not 1 year after college, then certainly 5 years after college or 10 years after college. And fields differ. Different majors have different trajectories in terms of income. At CIC, we are just winding down a 3-year public information campaign on the liberal arts more generally, which of course includes the humanities. And we've collected hundreds of testimonials from graduates of colleges. And the theme of these testimonials shows just how transformative the study of the humanities can be. I came to College X thinking I wanted to major in communications. I thought I wanted to work in the advertising industry. I happened to take this music course because my roommate said it was a great course. I fell in love with music. I ended up majoring in music. That got me a summer job with a record company, and now I'm a business executive working in Hollywood. You know, these transformations of personal and professional plans that are made possible by the study of the humanities is, I think, we do have to encourage actively at all levels. One challenge is getting college and university faculty to recognize the connection between their work and what goes on in the schools. And if we can't use any other high-minded arguments, I hope we can use the arguments of self-interest. That if you want students to come and study the humanities, you've got to help prepare those students and get them interested in the humanities. I think it's also the case that, as was very well demonstrated in the discussions of the Delaware and Philadelphia institutes this morning, the intellectual excitement engendered by the cooperative spirit of the institute approach is something that lends itself to broad bases of cooperation. And indeed, on a citywide basis, this is one of the few kinds of activity where colleges and universities aren't competing. They can actually cooperate and align their interests in working with the school systems in the area to encourage students to come along and study these subjects. So, for a variety of reasons, I think we've got a lot to gain by focusing on the question of what are the goals for humanities education at both the student levels, starting in the pre-college levels and going into college, and also at the institutional level, and see if we can make a greater stance in favor of these goals as part of a unified effort that is very much in societal interest overall. In the interest of time, Paul, I will stop. Thank you.
Thank you very much.